Alright, I thought you guys might want to hang out for a few minutes and watch a HE221 be broken down. So I don't think there's really any videos on the HE221 being disassembled so you guys can see what's inside these things. A lot of times for these, because they're small and quite a bit less expensive than the big stuff, most time, I even keep them here, is you just core exchange them. Like they give me the broken one, I get a brand new one out of a box, clean the housings, put it together, and off it goes. Because usually these things have to get repaired like within a day, especially during harvest. These things are all over agricultural equipment, so most of the time when these things do come apart or have issues, it's always when they need them. So without further ado, let's go look at this 221 and take it apart. I took the nut loose. It's all marked. We're going to check the main thing is here for leaking oil. So we're going to see if it's leaking oil because of the motor or if it's leaking oil because of something in the turbocharger. It does have a little bit of like feelable axial play by hand. That doesn't really mean a whole lot just yet until we actually check the thrust bearing condition and make sure, see if it's worn or not worn. And if it is worn, we'll put in a new one. And if it is not worn, then the stuff will get completely cleaned, measured, blueprint, and we'll put it back together. So here we go. I apologize for this seeming like it's really far away. It's not. It is just a very itsy bitsy turbo. If we can see, things fit in the palm of your hand. They are very small. The compressor wheel actually looks just a lot like the SXR we just did. Right? They are very similar. Just scale down. So Holset really likes this design. So we'll change blade count numbers based off of size and section. I'm pretty sure this has to do with cross-sectional area thing. And shaft speed and attachment as far as why this is going to change. But design-wise, they really like this shape when they can use it for making sure the flow stays stable. We're not doing anything performance to this one, nothing magical. When removing these shafts, because they're like, I think they're less than 6 millimeter. I think they're 5. I think they're like 5 millimeter. I could just not be dumb. We could just check. Yep, that is a 5 millimeter main hub. Generally, the two of these, we'll take the nut. Don't know if I have any old nuts. I think uh, don't really want to use that nut. Another nut. We'll gently tap. Let's see if we can. You want to be super careful with these because it's really easy to bend this shaft. There we go. Looks good. Just weird that like some models, Holset will use a heat shield, and then like other models, they opt to not use the heat shield. And there doesn't seem to be like a rhyme or reason to it. Like the VGT stuff, where you do see probably more temperature, they tend to not use the heat shield. And then the stuff that come on, give it up, give it to me. It's like one of those things. Why does it take so long? Why does it take so long? Just ow. Ugh. How crazy is that carbon buildup on this thing? So, from it being ran so hot, this is stuck. Because there's a carbon line. That's burned oil there, it's burned oil there. It has ate some stuff, debris wise. I mean, nothing's ever perfect. Oh, that's nice. I do think I like the tiny turbos. I like theirs. I think the Holset's kind of like my favorite design, just because it's just a miniaturized version of the big stuff. A lot of times you get into like these tiny little turbos. Yeah, that's like where. A lot of times you get in these tiny little turbos, they start the factory. He'll start RTVing these things together, and it just really sucks to like have to clean that and redo it with RTV. Like this is kind of like a pretty precision part that rotates at the speed of like the speed of warp drive. So for it to be put together with RTV is always kind of a bit of a letdown. Oh, there's an O-ring here. That's why. And it has this. Okay. Get the O-ring. That sucks. I was really hoping we didn't have to replace any parts. 4-pad thrust, single feed, oil feed. But there's our backside. You can see, try to do that like the ramp. So lower ramp, high part of ramp. Low ramp, high, low, high. So the direction of rotation is this way, which is if we look at our stuff here. I think I did that correctly. I did it backwards. The direction of rotation is this way. Oh yeah. So low, high, low, high, low, high. So this is a convergent thrust, and then your galley is here. It's fed by a single port. This guy here, and it's been fed some really hot oil. But as we can see on our face side, this is what I felt before taking it apart. You can see that it's nice and shiny all the way around. There's the little tiny little taper spots there, there, and there. So those are low. Those are lower than this, but it's been working its way down. And because the taper's so small, as soon as you lose the taper, you lose the ability for the thrust system to work correctly. So that really sucks. But rain looks fine. Just small. Tiny little parts are so great. Like this is a bit of an annoying design. Is the oil shield has to go on before this front piston ring seal goes on. or else you have to compress the piston ring seal to put the oil shield on. Now, already Dylan's really small. There we go. Deep breath. Don't do nothing irrational. Right? I don't know what I'm going to do by getting you off here. We're going to go ahead. There we go. Replace all these bearings. Which said sucks because your OEM bearing is your nicest bearing. These could definitely be used like in like a pinch if you needed to. But in this case, they're not in a hurry. Season's not going like just yet, so that's all off. Yeah, this front one looks really nice. Just that back one has some damage, and that's mainly because your back one, the oil's going to be thinner, as well as your bearing's going to be hotter, so you're going to have a higher eccentricity ratio naturally. So it's going to be a little bit more susceptible to stuff in the oil. I don't know how low like oil filters filter down to, and like fuel filters obviously are 4 microns. I think on fuel filters is what they're supposed to be, but there's an efficiency number with that, so it means out of 100 particulate pieces, 3 pieces that were bigger than 4 microns got through. Type of deal, right? None of them are 100% efficient, so if it just so happens that that one piece goes through the system and it goes over to the turbo, then into the turbo, and then it happens to pick the back bearing out of all the bearings it can go to, and you get this damage. Here's the front one, and looks pretty good. Sorry for the dirty fingers, dirty job. The rear one. So you can see this line down the center, right where the oil is being fed in. That's where your particulate is going to get trapped, generally. And yep. I should have focused better. And that's where the damage is at. ID's like fine. It's just OD has that pretty good scarring. Something got in there and just wasn't coming out. It either lodged it, like got lodged in the. Oh, there's something. Okay. So at the bottom of the 221s, they use a circlip ring. And I tend to not really pull them unless you have to hone the cartridge, but this cartridge looks fine. So it's just schmaggy and dirty. So don't see nothing stuck inside there. Right there. I think that covers everything. I am going to get parts cleaned up. Going to get them washed. And go from there. Don't know if I have. If you guys have any questions about the 221, always feel free to ask. There is only, my knowledge at least, mainly in the US. I'm not going to go too broad. All the sizes, these are all the same size. There's only one version of the 221. So there's different housings for different applications, but all these sizes are, as far as I've come across, exactly the same. There isn't a different 221 for different stuff. They just kind of like sized it so it just does everything inside of its displacement range, like good enough. uh, is how I probably put it. Yeah, I think it covers everything. I don't think I have any other little things to talk about. Like you can, the hot shutdowns, I don't really think are, they're not the most terrible thing. This isn't great, right? But they're not the most terrible thing. It's them being restarted when it's at its max swell point. That would be the not so good part. So this is the nice stuff I get to deal with. Sure, there's other guys out there too that got to deal with the same stuff on cars, trucks, hydraulic parts, and everything else. Nasty.